evening and welcome to the NDTV Dialogues. On this show, there are no face-offs, there are no political clashes, but a conversation of ideas. Ideas which are essential for India. This week, we look at food for all. Can it actually end hunger in our country? Does it not go far enough, as some have said? Does it go way too far? Is this a cost India should welcome, or is it a cost which will damage India beyond repair? Joining me tonight, Sitaram Yechury, Abhishek Singhvi, Piyush Goyal and Dr. Arvind Panagria. Mr. Yechury, can this bill actually end hunger in a country where over 40% of children are malnourished?
Well, it will not end, and I think it's a little below what I would have wanted, for instance. But it is definitely a beginning. It will take place. When I would have, actually wanted a greater quantity, a greater coverage, and a lesser price. These are the three amendments which we'll be moving when it comes to the Parliament. But nevertheless, it is something, a step in the right direction. But we would want to push it to actually be able to achieve what all of us would want, that there is food for all. And malnutrition that you mentioned, the Prime Minister is on record to say that this is a national shame. I mean, the levels of malnutrition in children. Now, to address this problem, yes, first primary concern is availability of food, but it should lead up to availability of the required nutritional levels and at affordable prices.
But when the left says universal entitlements, the worry, of course, is that what about people who don't deserve these entitlements? How much are we propounding a theory of free food for all? Is this a route to disaster?
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, it's not now, but when we were students way back in the 60s and 70s, we had economists who was telling you, unfortunately in India, if you want to give enough for the poor, you end up giving more than enough for the rich. I mean, unless you do that, you don't give enough for the poor. So you have to have a system by which those who don't need it, those deserve it, I mean, they will not access it. But even if they were to access it, I mean, if you have a situation where food is available to all, what will they do? There won't be a black market for them to sell in. I mean, if you have that sort of a situation. So I don't think that will be a problem at all. That won't ever happen. And I don't think we are going too far. I mean, there's nothing, what do you mean by can we afford it? I mean, who will afford it? Whom are we talking about? When we are talking about we the people, then what the people need is elimination of hunger, one of the things, important things they need. So, of course, we have to afford it. There's no other way.
So let me actually turn that question on its head. Professor Panagria, if you come in on that point, forget about whether India can afford the food security bill. Can we afford the unacceptably high levels of hunger in our country? You've actually challenged that whole theory completely. You said even the figures of hunger are wrong.
What I wrote about was child nutrition, and that's a separate debate. We could actually go that route. But even on this particular issue, I have a very different view than what Mr. Yechury has said. Now, hunger, let's say, is there. I mean, so, what I've challenged is the actual numbers anyway on even malnutrition. I'm not saying there's no malnutrition. There's an enormous amount of malnutrition, and a lot of effort is required. But that's, as I said, a separate debate. Now, on this, let's take Chhattisgarh. Everybody says that's a huge success in terms of already implementing in the PDS what the food security bill is trying to do. Compare at any income level the consumption levels of cereals in Chhattisgarh to those, let's say, in Maharashtra. They are lower than Maharashtra at every income level. Just because you give subsidized food, or let's say even free food, to people in certain quantity, which is in this case 5 kilograms per person per month, doesn't mean that they will consume more. Where the real problem is, which nobody seems to want to focus on, is milk, eggs, fruits and vegetables. Milk consumption, you go to the bottom 30%, about 1 to 2 kilograms per month. Go to the top 30%, 7 to 8 kilograms per month. You go to Haryana, of course, there's way more, goes to 20 kilograms per month. That is where the big difference is. What is this food security bill going to do for that consumption? And you want balanced diet. The problem is, the people are, it's not an issue of whether they're getting enough to eat, but whether they're getting a balanced diet. We have done nothing here.
So you're saying it's misconceived on what it actually aims to do, but Chhattisgarh, I want to bring Piyush Goyal in there because Chhattisgarh has really been looked upon as the BJP, the success. Many of the objections made have cited the Chhattisgarh model as well. In fact, Professor Amartya Sen has also praised the Chhattisgarh model, though he didn't entirely praise the Gujarat model. Do you agree with what Professor Panagra has raised at a point? And one interesting aspect also is that on this food security bill, how the BJP often is talking the language of the left, so many divisions seem to have gone completely.
See, you must realize we are in a country where poverty is there. There's no denying it. And there is malnutrition. There are people who are not getting 2 square meals a day. So there can be no denying that we do need to provide for their security. And in that respect, already there were enough laws. We had the Essential Commodities Acts for many years. We had the public distribution system, and subsequently the targeted public distribution system, which has been prevailing for years and years. Earlier, they used to give 10 kilograms per household. It was increased to 25, subsequently to 35. So if you look at the country today, we already had 35 kilograms of food grain going to the poor and even people above the poverty line, that was the APLs, to about 82 crore people. It is existing. In terms of distribution, that model actually the Planning Commission themselves have acknowledged. The Supreme Court suggested to the government, why don't you have a look at it? And there's no politics in it. If something good, for example, on insurance, Andhra Pradesh did wonderful, the health insurance. I tell all my chief ministers, why don't you learn from that? So it's not about which state did it.
Yes.
But the fact is that, and I have a book here which describes how they did it. It's beautifully done, involved the local people, and they've managed to actually eliminate leakages. It's the lowest cost TPDS in the country per capita.